I was coming to the end of a long, long walk. A man crawled out of a cardboard box under the East Street Bridge. He followed me onto it. I went out halfway across that homeless shadow, tagging along, so I dug for some change. I wouldn't need it anyway. He took it looking just a bit ashamed. He said, you know, I haven't always been this way. I've had my moments, days in the sun, moments I was second to none, moments when I knew I did what I thought I couldn't do. Like that plane ride coming home from the war that summer. My son was born, memories like a coat so warm a cold wind can't get through. Oh, looking at me now, you might not know it, but I've had my moments. I stood there trying to find the nerve, wondering if a single soul on earth would care at all, or miss me when I was gone. That old man just kept hanging around, looking at me, looking down. I guess he recognized that look in my eyes. Standing there with him, I felt ashamed. I said, you know, I haven't always been this way. I've had my moments, days in the sun, moments I was second to none, moments when I knew I did what I thought I couldn't do. Like the day I walked away from the wine for a man, I became his wife with a love so strong. When it was right, it always saw me through. Oh, looking at me now, you might not know it, but I've had my moments. I know somewhere around a trash can fire tonight, that old man tells his story one more time. He says, I've had my moments, days in the sun, moments I was second to none, moments when I knew I did what I thought I couldn't do. Like that cool night on the East Street Bridge, a young woman almost ended it. I was right there, I wasn't scared a bit. I helped her pull her through. Oh, looking at me now, you might not know it. Yeah, looking at me now, you might not know it, but I've had my moments, moments, moments. I've had my moments.
Thank you, Kathy. Yes, we've all had our moments, haven't we? For thee I thirst. Into thy hands I commit my spirit, my soul, my body, my life, whichever problem or circumstance or any unforgiven state might be in my experience. Thy will is my will. Thy will be done through me. Heal me at depth. Reveal that which needs to be revealed. Heal that which needs to be healed, so that I can glorify you. I can glorify you, God, and live in the fullness of your grace. It is finished. That's the grace prayer. That was written by my friend and mentor and teacher, Deidre Price. Deidre was a student of grace. She was a student of Jesus the Christ, of the teachings of Jesus. She always began her classes and her services by acknowledging the presence of Jesus in our midst. As I was doing my research, a recording of her came up doing her class, Grace Awakening. And I got to hear her voice again. Grace. Grace is something that is always with us. We often think of grace as the presence of God that intervenes in certain circumstances when something isn't going right. The intervention of God when the world around us seems to be going against us. It could be a full circumstance, it could be a moment in time where grace shows up. I know for me there's at least a half a dozen times where grace showed up, and I'm here right now. It wasn't a question of if my life would end, but it didn't. And it was because grace showed up. And this is what we usually think of as grace, is this powerful movement that changes our lives, that changes our world in an instant. But grace is more than that. We know grace as an activity of spirit. How about we shift our idea of grace to the activity of spirit? Because that's what grace is. Grace is the activity of spirit. Grace is more than sometimes a blessing or a miracle. What we think of as grace is the presence, the power, the good, the love, the divine energy that is behind creation. In the book, Handbook for Positive Prayer, we see grace is not a special activity of God reserved for human emergencies. It is omnipresent as the principle which governs the cosmic process, and as the cosmic process itself. It is God always pouring out love and mercy. Always pouring out love and mercy. Not just when we need it, when we desperately need it. Always. It is consistent. Spirit is consistent in all things, in all expressions. We are created in the image and likeness of God. Am I right? That's what we're taught. That's what we think. That's what most of us believe. We have a tendency to create God in our image and likeness. But that's not how it works. That's not the truth. The truth is we are created in the image and likeness of love, harmony, peace, strength, wisdom, all the things that Spirit is. This idea of grace as the principle which governs the cosmic process that is the cosmic process tells me that when my consciousness, when my awareness expresses from its true being, from the truth of its creation, grace is the experience. But when it expresses from some other state, such as unforgiveness, fear, anger, resentment, and so on, pain is the result. Suffering is the result. One of the uniform teachings of Eastern philosophies and Western philosophies is that suffering comes from our belief in separation from Spirit. When something goes wrong, our suffering comes from our focus on what has gone wrong in our humble and accurate to ourselves opinion. Sometimes things have to go wrong in order for it to go right. For you, for me, for the world. We're experiencing that right now. We have been for quite a while. Emily Cady, Lessons in Truth. Lesson 1, first paragraph, first 2 sentences. Every man believes himself to be in bondage to the flesh and to the things of the flesh. All suffering is the result from this belief. Sosan, third Zen patriarch. When love and hate are both absent, everything becomes clear and undistinguished. Make the smallest distinction, however, and heaven and earth are set infinitely apart. Ramana Maharshi, let what comes come, let what goes go. Jesus the Christ, not my will, but thy will. We are co-creators with Spirit. When we align ourselves, when we align our thoughts, our minds, our presence with the true nature of our being, with the Christ nature, which is love, in essence, love and everything that is of love, we are in the natural flow of the creative process that is grace. Grace is the energy that is the creative process. That's what grace is. Every thought and feeling attuned to love brings into manifestation an increase in good. This is the way creation was meant to be. This is the way that we, as the human race, were meant to unfold. In this natural flow of the creative process, which frees us from bondage of any kind, which frees us to be the blessing that we are put on this earth to be, frees us to be everything that we can be, to express the gifts that only we as individuals can express. Okay, sounds good to me, Reverend David. Sounds good to me. What about karma? Karma works in even exchange. If you do something not good, you will receive something not good. When I was in class, ministerial school, we had an instructor, Maurice Williams. And he explained karma like this. He said, karma is like a tennis ball. So you take a tennis ball, you throw it against the wall, it bounces back, you catch it. Boom, boom. That's what we generally think about karma, but that's not how it works. You never reap all of the not so good that you have sown. Because as an individual being, as a being of Christ, you are constantly moving. When the tennis ball is thrown, it hits the wall here. It comes back here. You are here. When you threw it, you were here. Now you are here. So you do not fully reap everything that you have sown. Eric Butterworth, in his book, Celebrate Yourself, Grace explains the inadequacy of the idea of karma, the endless cycle of cause and effect. It is true that as you sow, so do you reap, yet God's desire to express completely through you and as you is so great that you never completely reap the harvest of your error. You always reap more good than you sow. This is grace. God, as the creative principle of the universe, will always meet us more than halfway. Karma is the law of reciprocity. Grace is divine principle. And as divine principle, it is not beholden to any law. Law derives from principle. Principle is not beholden to any law. Grace doesn't deal in even exchange, but in the increase of good. Grace deals in the increase of good. So we never quite reap the full consequences of our mistakes. We always reap more good than we will always reap more good from the positive we express. You see, your mistakes, those things that you don't get quite right, or those things that you get way wrong, they have their root, they have their intent in good. We just misinterpret because of whatever it is that we have acquired in our life experience. We misinterpret how to bring that good forward. We misinterpret what that good is. But the root of our action comes from the infinite desire to bring forth good. So our intent is basically to create something positive, no matter how wrong it may be. Grace accentuates the positive and creates a greater good from there. We may have created a great kerfuffle in our life that we have to deal with. in its grace, the creative process of Spirit that helps us move through it, that helps us create whatever it is from it that we need for our highest and best good. It helps us to realize and understand what it is we truly needed from whatever it was that we wanted to create, which didn't work too well. And this is what we can look back on and say, aha, okay, that was it. John 14, 1 through 3. 1, 2, 3. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If it were not so, I would not have told you. I would not have told you that I go to prepare. Have I not told you that I go to prepare a place for you? If I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again. I will take you to myself, so that where I am, you may be also. This can be interpreted in many ways. And for us, in our day-to-day living, I see that it is Jesus speaking as the Christ itself, especially in John. Especially in John. When Jesus is speaking, he is often speaking as the Christ. Because John, was not written by John. John is an interpretation of many teachings called the Gnostic teachings. It's the Gnostic gospel. So Jesus is telling you that in spite of yourself and your mistakes, there are many ways to work out your good. Many mansions, many rooms, many ways to work out your good. It isn't just what you thought. It isn't just what the pundits think. There are many ways. So many ways we will never understand. But in every way, your good will be worked out. He's telling us that the Christ of you can move through any situation or circumstance to create your highest good from it. I will come again. Doesn't mean he's going to come down on a cloud and all this hoop-de-hoo. You are going to realize your Christ presence again. You're going to understand that, yes, this is what I thought, but this isn't what I need. I can go to my Christ presence through prayer, meditation, letting it go, and come to the understanding of what it is that I need, what it is who I am in this situation, and move from there into another room, into another experience, another room, another experience that will bring you back up. It's all about your awareness of the Christ presence. Thy will is my will. Thy will be done through me today. Short prayer, is it not? Thy will is my will. Thy will be done through me today. It is a prayer of surrender. A prayer of surrender. I asked my original Unity minister, Les Saunders. One day I asked him about what makes Unity different than other New Thought teachings. He said many other New Thought teachings tend to work from the mind. Unity, we teach surrender. Surrender to the movement of the Christ. Surrender to the wisdom of the Christ. Surrender to the truth of your being. Get out of the way, for goodness sakes. Get out of the way. Let what is be. So this week, friends, as you go about your day to day, and you come up against whatever it is you come up against, let that be your prayer. Thy will is my will. Let your will be done. Thy will be done through me today. Thy will is my will. Thy will be done through me today. Let's say that together. Thy will is my will. Thy will be done through me today. Affirm this as many times as possible. And know that the fullness of God's grace is at work. And you are the instrument of that grace. So it is. God blesses you.